So the new Saints Row was announced recently at Gamescom, and it was very exciting for all of 5 seconds maybe, until you sit back and realise that Saints Row seems to have kind of gone to shit. It's no secret that Saints Row's had a bit of an identity crisis ever since it was released. I mean, when you look at Saints Row 1 and Saints Row 4, they're very different games, but I feel that Saints Row kept a particular heart to it, even as far as Saints Row 4. Now, don't get me wrong, Saints Row 2 is of course my favourite because it's the best, but I always felt that 3 and 4 did keep a particular heart of the franchise. That edgy side to it was still there, the jokes, the humour was still right, and the characters felt true to who they were supposed to be, despite the direction of the games being a little bit odd. That being said though, we've never seen such a shake-up as this Saints Row reboot that appears to have dropped everything that makes Saints Row in favour of broadening their audience, and I hate it so much. Saints Row originally was so engaging purely because it was a franchise based all around gang warfare. You got to be part of that power fantasy. You got to be one of the people on the ground as part of a gang. In the first game, you work your way up through those ranks. You get to know those different lieutenants. You work with each of them. You take over the districts. You earn money. You get new clothes, new cars, new apartments, and eventually you become the right-hand man to Julius at the top. Saints Row 2, you take on the role of the boss. You're recruiting new people. You're taking over this entire city. It's incredibly fun. These guys that you're playing with, all the characters, they're fucked, but they're also lovable as well. You wouldn't want to be friends with them in real life, but you absolutely adore them in the game because they're fucking hilarious. I could not be in the same room as Johnny Gat, but in the game, he's fucking brilliant, and I love every single scene that he's in. Saints Row was about that power fantasy, about escapism, about taking gang culture and gang warfare and making a game about it, making that a little bit more over the top, picking out some of the stereotypes maybe, but an incredible experience nonetheless. It seems with this new entry, what they've done is they've reskinned Watch Dogs 2. It's a small group of friends that aren't really a gang at all, and they're doing this for some reason. We don't know. It feels almost like when Mafia 3 came out, and it's not similar in tone, but when Mafia 3 it's the third Mafia game, but you're not playing as the Mafia though. You're playing as a guy that's taking down the Mafia, and okay, I guess that can be done. It ended up being bad, but it's a bit of an odd one to do. Saints Row is about gang warfare, gang culture, about being immersed in that, and when you make a game that's about not that at all, but just a group of, I hate the word, but woke millennials fighting against a bunch of just awfully designed gangs, you're left with what this game is, which is a confused mess to me. And when I say it's very similar to Watch Dogs 2, it's the look of the game, the tone of the game, the focus of the game, it all feels very Watch Dogs 2 and very Ubisoft, in the sense that they're broadening their audience to a point where they're going to please pretty much nobody. Saints Row was a pretty niche game to begin with. It was a very edgy game. A lot of the references and jokes and things in there were on the edgy side, and I think that it would have turned a lot of people off. There was a lot of just gratuitous violence in these games as well, which would have turned some people off too. They were very edgy at the time that they came out, and they played into all of those things a little bit more than GTA did. Although GTA did violence and things like that as something you could do in the game, Saints Row was like, no, you can do these things, and that's the focus of the game. That's the fun of the game, is killing people, running people over, of destroying shit. Like, that was a focus of the game, and that turned a lot of people off. It was quite edgy in that regard. In turning away from that edgy side, and turning away from that niche audience and that market to broaden your horizons, what you're doing is you're turning your back on them. You're deciding that this game needs to appeal to everyone, and in doing so, you're appealing to pretty much nobody. In terms of humor, that's a big one. When a game is known for its edgy humor, and you try to then make it just very baseline, just completely plain humor that anyone can be like, oh, that was a joke, I've registered that that's a joke, but not really laugh at, you've sort of failed. When you look at some of the things they've changed from this trailer, there were 2 shops in the game, of many, that were featured in this brand new trailer for Saints Row, that in the original game were Freckle Bitches and Rim Jobs. Now, Freckle Bitches is a parody of Wendy's, and Rim Jobs is a parody. Oh, I mean, it's a pun, isn't it? You know, rim jobs for, like, it's a mechanic, but rim jobs, like, as in, like, you know, you get the joke. It's funny. However, in the new one, they've changed Freckle Bitches to be FBs, and Rim Jobs is now Jim Robs. I hate it. I hate it so much. And this is what I mean, that they're going for a sort of humor where they're like, this pleases nobody at this point. Why is it called FBs if it's not Freckle Bitches? That was funny. That was a funny name for a restaurant. Why can't you lay into that anymore? When you look at something like Grand Theft Auto, they've evolved and they've moved past, you know, what they used to be, which they did have an edgy phase, Rockstar did, but they still lay into a lot of those things, a lot of the satire and a lot of the funny naming of restaurants and radios and things like that. You don't need to stray away from that to have mass appeal. Grand Theft Auto 5 is one of the biggest, it's the biggest game of all time. And they didn't. They laid into what they knew. Saints Row doesn't have to stray away. It doesn't have to become Ubisoft, but it seems to be what they're doing. Leaving behind a niche for mass appeal, and they do not have mass appeal. They've done the perfect thing here to showcase my point, which is that they're trying to appeal to everyone, and they have literally appealed to a niche audience. And they could have got way more people behind them if they just appealed to Saints Row fans when making a Saints Row game. Now, one of the things they keep bringing up is that these characters are relatable. You want to invite them into your living room. Hey, I don't want to invite the Saints into my living room. I don't want to invite the Saints into my living room. I want them to be Johnny Gat. I want them to be Pierce. I want them to be Sean D. I want them to be the boss from those games, because those guys are fucking psychopaths. Those guys are fucking insane, and I absolutely love them for that in the context of Saints Row. I don't want the characters of Saints Row to be relatable. I don't want them to be someone that could be my next door neighbor. I don't want to be someone that I want to invite into my fucking living room. I want Johnny Gat. I want these crazy motherfuckers from Saints Row. And in trying to make them relatable, they're doing these things like one of their motivations for starting the gang is they want to pay off their student loan, and that's fucking cringe. But also, why is that's imagine if in Saints Row 1, instead of joining the gang and you're working your way through the ranks, he just goes, oh man, I really want to pay off my student loan from my university course, so I'm gonna join the 3rd Street Saints. And also, why do you even want to pay off your student loan if you're gonna become criminals that eventually take over the city? Just don't, you're criminals. Just don't pay your loan. If you're gonna kill people and rob people and run a criminal enterprise, you don't need to pay your student loan. You criminals, I don't understand. It's so silly. They've also taken some time to talk about their focus on diversity. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not one of those, you know, oh, we hate the SJWs. I mean, I used to be, but this is a silly point that they're continuously talking about the diversity in the cast and how that's one of their core focuses. Saints Row was always diverse. I mean, what are we talking about? You have people of all races, and they're high up positions, they're main characters. It was not dominated by white people, not even close, which people might say is an issue because it's gang culture and they're just saying that all of the bad people are the different races. Oh, who the cares? Oh god, the point being, Saints Row was always diverse. It's not a new thing. You don't need to, get up on your fucking high horse and be like, oh, we've worked very hard on the diversity, and then turn your back on the old games as if they were a product of their time. They were incredibly diverse games, so that's a stupid point. Now, I want to read you this quote from an article, because I've been reading a lot of little bits here about Saints Row. I mean, this is actually what got me to make this video, because I was just, pissed off. I was reading this and I was like, I'm pissed off. This is so dumb. So this is a quote from one of these articles. It says, the developers say that Saints Row's focus is, at least in the early game, going to focus on the material concerns of its young crew. These disaffected millennials, specifically millennials, turn to crime to, for instance, put food on their table, feel part of the community, and pay off their student loans. They said it again. Chief Creative Officer Jim Boone says that it's broadly this is the worst. This is if you want to not sell a game, this is what you call it. A contemporary millennial power fantasy. It's only later that the game focus switches to sort of empire building that you see in the previous games in the series. I cannot tell you a time in my life when I've wanted to play a contemporary millennial power fantasy. Ever. Actually, I don't want to. I want to play the opposite of that. I can tell you that's the type of game I would avoid, and God, why are game developers so fucking out of touch? Why? And there's a bunch of other stuff. I'll link this article below that I'm getting these quotes from, but there's another one that really sums up their thoughts on Saints Row. The fact they've turned their back on it. They don't want to make Saints Row games anymore. They want to change things because they believe Saints Row bad, this new direction good. They say, there are more than a few reasons why Volition chose to make Saints Row rather than Saints Row 5. Boone said that the classic series of games were very much of their time, with tastes and attitudes having moved on. And that goes to show their thought process, what they actually think about Saints Row. They believe that people don't want those games anymore. They believe tastes have moved on. They believe those games are inappropriate, I think is what they're trying to say. They want to distance themselves from them. I think they feel embarrassed. I think they feel like they don't want anything to do with those games. I absolutely adore those games. I love Saints Row 1, 2. I really like 3 and 4. And I feel betrayed by Volition. I really do, especially since that first initial reveal had the graffiti on the wall. It was so exciting. Saints Row is back. And it's just a Watch Dogs 2 clone. It's really disappointing to see. It's a focus on vapid humor, on mass appeal, and on burying the past. A past which people fucking love. To say that times have changed and people have moved on is factually incorrect. Look at Grand Theft Auto 5, a game that is still edgy, a game that plays on all of the themes of the franchise's history, that returns to its roots in a lot of ways after Grand Theft Auto 4, and that game is the biggest video game of all time. The biggest entertainment product of all time. Don't tell me that tastes have changed and attitudes have moved on. That is absolute bullshit, and it's a cop-out. I also have to say that their reaction on Twitter has been pretty fucking bad. People have been voicing their concern on Twitter, and they've been very flippant with everybody. I mean, they've changed this entire game, and it's not just rebooting it in a new way, it's tearing it down and putting something else in its place. It's not like a God of War 4 after a God of War 3. That's not what this is. This is trying to appeal to the masses and betray what Saints Row is. And people are voicing that. People are concerned and people are upset. And they're replying with GIF saying haters gonna hate. Like, that's a fucking relevant meme in 2021. That's just, that's so cringe. What is that the kind of humor we're gonna get in this game? I mean, it is. That is the humor we're gonna be getting in this game. Imagine if Johnny Gat said haters gonna hate and then did a dab. Like, that's what we're gonna get. That's this game. That's this fucking game. And with their response to, you know, people being, okay, that's a weird thing to do, being like, we're not backing down on this game, like, fucking arrogant as shit. Maybe you should. Like, maybe you should, like, if you want to, like, you know, make money. I don't know. Maybe you should make a Saints Row game. Hey, this game is going to bomb. This game is going to bomb. The dislikes on the trailer are wild. The trailer doesn't even have that many views. It's not even past 1 million. So again, it's already staying within its niche to begin with. And 24,000 likes, 50,000 dislikes. Saints Row fans are not happy with this. I think that's pretty clear. I'm really not happy with this. I'm not happy with what I've seen. Gameplay-wise, it looks fine. It looks like Saints Row. That's cool. A lot of the features in there in terms of like how you can choose to make your money, that sounds cool. Customization options sound interesting. That all sounds cool. The issue is with direction. You can put as much customization as you want in a game, but if the direction, the tone, and the vibe of the game isn't there, then you've already lost. And I'm just looking at the comments for this the Saints Row, the Welcome to Santo Eliso trailer, and at the top comment is sums it all up, man. These aren't Saints, they're BuzzFeed employees. They fucking are too. Oh man. But I think that's all I have to say in this video. I'm currently working on a Saints Row retrospective, by the way. It's going out on my main channel, so I'll link my main channel down below. If you're new, like if this video just, I don't know, fucking hits the algorithm, which it might do. I mean, that's my fucking intention with this, by the way. I mean, I am concerned, but at the same time, like, you know, if it hits the algorithm, then, you know, thumbs up. Man's gotta eat. And also pay off my student loan. But if you're new and you're seeing this, then go check out my main channel. This is just my side channel where I put little discussion bits on. I'll link it down in the description. I'm working on a big Saints Row retrospective where I go back and look in depth at Saints Row 1, 2, 3, 4, and also Get Out of Hell, even though that's a bit dodgy, and then the lead up to this and the sort of backlash there has been. I try to keep that opinions not in that about the new Saints Row. Obviously, my opinions will be in that about the original games, but I try to keep that free of talking shit about the new Saints Row, because there might be fans of that one that just want to look at the old games, and I don't want to alienate those people. That's not fair. But I wanted to make this video to actually talk about the way I'm feeling about this, and I'm just I just feel betrayed by this company that I made games that I loved, and they just seem to be shitting on people that are taking issue with this. Because what they've done is they've named the game Saints Row, and it's not Saints Row, and they're unhappy that people aren't happy with that. They're like, they don't get it. I don't really understand. Like, they must have just been in this bubble, this fucking echo chamber, thinking, oh, this game is great, we're doing everything right. And then when they put it out into the world, they realize, oh shit, real people don't actually think like this, or talk like this, or want this. But it's interesting. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I would love to get some conversations going. I'm sure there's going to be some vitriol in the comments from people that are excited for this, and that's what I want. I want that. Let's go. Let's get the fires burning on both sides. Let's just fucking burn this shit to the ground. Thank you guys, though, for watching. I appreciate it. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, all that YouTube shit. I don't really care. Connect with me on Twitter. The link is down in the description. And I'll see you all very soon for that Saints Row retrospective. All right. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.